Yes, okay. We're going to review where we stopped last time. We learned what we call the present tense paradigm, the paradigm of the Greek verb. And we noticed that the Greek verb tells us more information than the English verb does. Luo means not only loose, it means I loose. Lues, you loose, you singular loose. Um, and we notice the Greek verb can even tell us if it's you singular or you plural. Lues and luete. You singular, you plural. But he, she, or it is lue. And they lose is luusin. And sometimes there's a nu at the end for one of several reasons. We don't need to know the reasons. We just need to know that there sometimes is what we call a movable nu at the end of the third person plural. There are several things we have to learn here. We have to learn that verbs have person, first, second, third, singular, and first, second, third, plural. We have to learn that the English meaning is not only loose, but that the Greek verb tells us the pronoun as well. I loose, you loose, he, she, it looses. And one other thing, I would prefer it if you would please translate not with the simple present, but with the continuous present. I am loosing. You are loosing. He, she, it is loosing. Now, if you use the simple present, it will not be wrong. I will never count it wrong because the textbook uses it. But the force of the Greek present tense is generally, not always, is generally tends toward the progressive present. And that's why I like students to get used to I am loosing, you are loosing, he, she, it is loosing, rather than the simple present I loose, you loose, he, she, it looses. But notice the Greek verb tells us more information than the English verb does. Now, we've just had simple sentences, right? These are simple sentences. I loose, that's a sentence by itself. But we're going to add something now in recognizing sentences. Let's take this sentence. I am following Peter of Galilee. We have, first of all, we're going to, as we translate Greek, we're going to look for the verb. We're going to look for the subject, and we're going to look for what we call the object. Now, I'm not, it could be that everyone here has no problem with, so far, with the grammatical subjects I am using. So if this is elementary information to you, please bear with us. But what I would like to do in just a moment is to break you into groups. And I would like for you to take the next page, which, wait a minute, I haven't sent it to you. So let me send again another class page to you. I hope that everyone has, let's see, I hope it's this one. And I'm going to go ahead and send the third page as well. And I should add the fourth page, I think. Yeah, I'm going to add them all. Okay. All right. First of all, we're going to break into groups again. And I want you to take, well, Just a moment. While you're getting those on WhatsApp, you should be getting those documents, and maybe not everyone in a group is able to have it, but hopefully all can, but at least one person in the group will have the worksheets. I've sent the rest of them to you. I'm going to share a different screen this time. I'm going to share the textbook. Some of you don't actually have the textbook just yet, but but everyone should have it as a copy. Section 2.4 in your textbook, I'm not going to refer to pages because some of you have the 6th edition and some of you have the 5th edition. And I'm using here actually the Kindle edition, the software edition of our textbook. But the page numbers will be somewhat different. So I will simply refer to the section numbers. We notice 2.4 is from chapter 2. So section 2.4 in chapter 2, Greek as an inflected language. English distinguishes between I say and you say by the addition of the personal pronouns I or you. Greek does this by varying the endings of the words, that is, we call that by inflection. And one of the major differences between Greek and English is that Greek is an inflected language. English still has remnants of inflection. For example, I say, he says. I say, you say, he says, or he, him, his, and so on. Or thou sayest in Old English, in the King James Version, for example. But English mostly indicates grammatical form by other means, especially by word order. And so this is where we have to really work to understand that Greek is different. And again, last time we learned some new words, or began to learn these words in vocabulary 2 at the end of chapter 2 in the textbook. For next time, you will be expected to know all of these words: akuo, I hear or listen, or better, I am hearing, I am listening. Grapho, I write, or better, I am writing. Esthio, I eat, or better, I am eating, because the Greek present tense tends to be progressive. But it is not wrong to use the simple present to translate it. Here, notice heurisco, heurisco. Notice the hard breathing, heurisco. Diphthong, hard breathing, heurisco. I find, or I am finding. Now we have to memorize all of these words. If we don't know the vocabulary, then we cannot translate sentences. We cannot learn Greek. We must learn these words at the end of this chapter, and next time also at the end of chapter 3.1. You should have already learned the words at the end of chapter 1. The nouns, the places, the people, proper names at the end of chapter 1. But now we have verbs. We have words of action here in vocabulary 2. We're going to go even further. And by the way, when we have here accents on verbs, section 2.8, you can forget this. We're not learning the rules for accents. So just skip these parts that have accents. Rules about accents, we are not learning. All right. And that's why, for example, we're not doing exercise 2.2 because he is asking you to provide accents. This is part of this section about the rules of accents, and we're not learning those. They're very complicated and unnecessary. But now we want to learn how to make more complicated or complex sentences, how we can share more information. And in order to do that, we're going to need to know our endings of our verbs, and we're going to need to add the we're going to need to add grammatical terms and the endings of nouns as well. I would, however, I'm going to stop sharing this again. I'm going to break you into groups, and I'm going to ask you to do this. You have the worksheet now that has luo, lues, lue, luomen, luete, luusen. And you have the worksheet also that lists other verbs. And you have the words that we just looked at from chapter 2, the verbs, the new verbs. There are more than 6. I have 6 on the one worksheet, but I think it's worksheet 3. But you have actually 9 verbs at the end of chapter 2. I would like for you to take all of those verbs, as many as you can in the time that we have, take those verbs and speak to one another the present tense paradigm. For example, one of you will say, esthio, estheis, esthia, esthiomen, esthiete, esthiusen. But not only the Greek, but also translate. So say not only esthio, but esthio, I eat. Or if you really do it perfectly, esthio, I am eating. Esthies, you are eating. Esthia, he, she, it is eating. So one person does one verb. Then another person takes another verb. For example, akuo, akuo, akues, akue. Akuo, I am hearing. Akues, you are hearing. Akue, he, she, it is hearing. Or the simple present, again, the simple present is fine. But take the verbs at the end of chapter 2, add the endings from the present tense paradigm, and translate into English. So one person takes one verb, the other person takes another verb. However many people in your group, you will have just enough time for each one to take at least one verb and repeat all 6 endings with the verb and the English translation. I hope you understand the job. It's not possible to clarify. Miss Zenaria will be moving from one group to another to help. But please join your groups again. I'm going to pause recording. Okay, everyone should be back now. And
So you are mute. Please unmute.
Oh, I must have muted myself. Thank you. Yes, that I tend somehow that tends to happen. Okay, I will ask some questions. If you're asked and you don't know the answer, please do not be dismayed. This is the only way we can learn. So I want to show you, first of all, this screen. It's not quite straight the way I would like, but a whiteboard. Three terms that are very important for us. I know that English grammar is not always familiar with everyone, but in a sentence, we need to know, first of all, the subject, the object, and the verb. And we need to know that in the Greek language, the subject will be in what we call the nominative case, Nominative, nominative. I only had room for a little bit here on the whiteboard. And the object will be in the accusative case. Let's take a different, go back to the right camera, which is this one. And I'm going to share again the screen, the textbook. Okay. Now, keep having people admit, so I have to take a moment. All right. Notice, please, from the textbook, chapter 3, section 1, 3.14, the subject and direct object in English. A simple English sentence is usually in the order subject, verb, direct object. For example, in the sentence, the boy hits the ball, the subject is first, the verb is next, hits, and the direct object is after the verb, the ball. Word order is very important in determining the subject and object of an English sentence. For example, the meaning of a sentence, the man bites the dog, is very different from the dog bites the man. But here's the thing that we must understand. In Greek, we do not use word order. We use inflection instead. And inflection is a broad term that covers what we are going to call with nouns, the nominative and accusative cases. The nominative, we just said, will give us the subject, and the accusative will give us the direct object. So, for example, share a different screen, stop sharing. Share screen. All right, let's go. Where were we here? All right, Mr. Rafakat. Khan is batting, or simple present, Khan bats the ball. I was going to say Yunus Khan, but that would make me very old. So, and since I don't know my cricket players very well, I just put Khan. So simple Khan is this, okay. Then this question, what is the subject of this sentence, please?
Khan.
Khan, very good. Now, that may be elementary for some of you, but not everyone gets it. This is, Khan is the subject. Mr. Imran Bashir, what is the direct object of this sentence? In this sentence, go ahead.
Batting?
No, but good guess. Azhar, what would be the direct object?
Ball.
Ball, very good. We use the word subject and direct object in English, meaning The subject is the person or thing doing the action. Whatever he is doing the action to is called the direct object. And the verb here is batting. Khan is batting or bats the ball. So we will take some simple sentences first. I am following Peter of Galilee. Let me go down the list here. Reverend Phineas, what is the subject here of this sentence? I am following Peter of Galilee. What is the subject? You have to unmute your mic and then mute it again.
Peter is the object over here.
I asked for the subject. I thought Reverend Phineas, but he's muted. Can you unmute?
I unmuted.
I am.
Is it I?
I, thank you very
I
much. I is the subject. Now, this is where we have to be careful in Greek. Okay, go ahead and mute again. Because a Greek
Yeah,
verb,
I'm just having a look.
a Greek verb can tell us, if we go back, a Greek verb can tell us, I am loosing, I loose, luo, or I am batting. I don't have the word for bat because I don't think the Apostle Paul played cricket, but so we'll just continue to right now use loose. I am loosing, or I loose. This here, the subject is I. So if I have a sentence in Greek that starts with luo, I, then this is the subject. But if I have a sentence that is in the third person singular, it will be different. Now, in just a moment, Shervan, what is the object of this sentence? If I is the subject, I am following. The object is?
The object is following.
No, following is the verb. Following tells me the action, but the object the direct object needs to be a noun or pronoun. Shalim John, sorry.
Yes, sir.
What would be the direct object here in this sentence?
Galilee.
Peter. You're close, yes. Peter of Galilee is adding information about Peter, but the direct object, we call this a prepositional phrase. Of is what we call a preposition. We will talk more about those later. Peter is the direct object. I is the subject, Peter is the object, and the verb is am following, or I follow. One of the things that will be helpful in translating, whether we go from Greek to English or English to Greek, we do the verb first. Then we, in the verb, because the verb may have
Mr. Gill, apologize, okay? I'm just going to fix it, okay? I'm going to revert your order. And the one you ask, it is in the black, right?
I'm not sure what your question is. Right now, I'm just
already removed your 2 minutes polling.
Everyone, please mute your microphone for a moment.
You know.
Please mute
You started crying, you know.
Please mute your microphone. Here, in a Greek sentence, the first thing we should look for is the verb, because the verb may contain the subject, as it does here. I am following. And then verb, subject, and then if there is a direct object that goes, I am following Peter, then the third thing will be the direct object. So we are reviewing a bit of English grammar again, but we are adding something to it. We're adding the Greek terms.
Those
And those terms are nominative and accusative.
iPhone
Nominative is the,
12 Pro.
somebody's mic isn't muted and I don't know which one it is. Anyway,
It's Harun Arif's mic. That
Yeah,
is
it's
all right. We call the subject, we put it in the nominative case. If it is the object, we put it in the accusative case. Now, not because it's being accused of anything. This is just a grammatical term. So I'm going to take the word logos, which we know. Logos means word. It means many, it can mean many more things, but the gloss, the simple meaning we give to it in the vocabulary list is word. So let's take logos. Let's take logos and let's see what it looks like in the nominative masculine singular. Now it's masculine because logos is masculine, and the words that are masculine will always be masculine. Words that are neuter will always be neuter. Words that are feminine will always be feminine. So we will have to learn the word. If it's a noun, we have to learn the word, and we have to learn the gender, masculine, feminine, or neuter. And we have to learn, we'll see in a moment, the article that goes with it. But all of the words right now in vocabulary 3.1 and 3.2 will be masculine words in what we call the second declension, but that's not important. Logos. Now notice the accusative, the object is logon, not logos. So we actually have a stem of a word and endings that are added to it. This is the word we find in the dictionary, logos. But if it is the direct object in a sentence, it will not be logos, it will be logon. Furthermore, these words can be plural, words. And that form is logoi. And if the direct object, accusative, we say, it's logus. So we have endings that we need to memorize. Now, let's take a Greek sentence. And I'm going to ask different ones. Which word here is the subject? Which word is the one who does the action? Let's see, I'm getting only the same names. Anil. Anil, which
Yes,
word?
anthropos is
Yes, exactly.
anthropos is doing action here.
Yes. Asif, so Arif, how do we know, why do we know that anthropos is the subject? Why is that clear? Why? If we look at this and we say, yes, definitely, anthropos is the subject. Why do we say that? Why can we say that? Mr. Shahid, please don't be dismayed if you don't know an answer. That's fine. Mr. Shahid, do you know why do we know first?
Because
ahead.
There is ending O and S, so it shows this is the subject.
Shabash, Zabardast. Yes, anthropos. Os shows This is the subject because it is in what we call the nominative case. This is a nominative case ending. Abishai, what does anthropos mean in English?
Human. Human.
Right.
Man.
Yes. We can translate man, person, or human being. Human is a little complicated. It's a kind of, I don't know. It's not what we would normal usage. We would say man, or we would mean person, because anthropos is actually gender neutral. There's other words that make clear that we're talking about a man, a male, or a husband, like aner as man, but we are learning anthropos. So person or man is a fine translation. Now, right now we're going to say, because in English we need an article usually, we're going to use the indefinite and translate a man. Now, what is the verb, Mr. Okay, I'm just checking a recording. No, sorry. Shervan Asher, what is the verb here? What is the action that is taking place? What is the verb? Shalim John, can you answer that? What is the verb here?
It's a bit confused, but laterly I will.
Anyone would like to answer the question? Which
Yes,
word?
sir.
I think
I like to.
is here
Okay.
the verb.
Okay.
Please.
A shows that AK is verb.
Yes. Okay, mute. Everyone mute. Thank you. There's a dog still in the background, so if you mute. Yes, echo means I have or I hold, or better, I am having or I am holding. Third person singular. He, she, or it is having or holding. But when I have the third person singular or the third person plural, echusi or echusen, I must look and see if there is a noun singular here in this case, because this verb is singular, third person singular. And yes, I have anthropos. Instead of he, she, or it, I know that a man is the subject. A man is having, or a man has. And now the direct object, easy. This is huios. Look at vocabulary 3.1 in your textbook. Huios, we plus hard breathing. Huios is the direct object. A man is having, or a man has a son in English. Now be careful. I know it's hard for South Asian students because you don't have the indefinite article that we do in English. So the tendency would be to say man has son. But for good English, we need the indefinite article. A man has or is having a son. Now, here's the important thing to recognize. We take this translation, a man has or is having a son, and we move the words around. Eche, weon, anthropos. How does this change the meaning? In English, it would change the meaning. In Greek, it will not change the meaning because the word order does not determine the way a word is used. What determines the way a word is used are the endings of the words. The verb is eche, he, she, it. This goes with this, third person singular. I look for a nominative case. A man has a son. Means the same thing. It does not change the meaning. If I change the words around again, weon, eche, anthropos, it does not change the meaning. A man has a son. It means the same thing. Now, I want to take just a little break because I've gone a little bit over time. And first of all, I'd like for you to, I'm going to pause. Please take your seats. All right, now I'm going to break you into groups again. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to take I sent you some worksheets. This is actually worksheet number 5. I think 4 and 5 are together on two pages, PDFs. So if hopefully at least one person in the group can open the worksheet, the PDF on your phones, if you're using phone, or on your laptop, if you're using a laptop. If you would open it and to sentence number 5. Sentence number 5, up here in the corner is a number. And the last worksheet has this number 5. Now, what I would like for you to do is take these 3 English sentences, 5, 6, and 7. And I'd like for you to underline the object with 2 lines. And I would like for you to underline, let's see, just a second, if I can do this. No, I can't do that in time. Underline this with 2 lines, the subject. I'm giving too much away. 2 lines, let me start again. 1 line, the subject. 2 lines, the direct object, the object of the sentence, and circle the verb. Okay, got it? And when you finish that, go back to the Greek sentences and then try those. But first, try the English ones. I just want you to underline 1 time the subject and 2 times the direct object and circle the verb in each sentence, okay? So take those, start here with the English, and then go on the previous card, previous sheet, this one, to sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope that this job is clear. And so I'm going to break you into rooms again. And I would like for you to practice, speak together and agree together, okay? Do 1 sentence at a time. Group 4, 3, and 4, perhaps if you would start with sentence 7 and make sure and go backwards, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And groups 1 and 2, if you would go forwards, start with 5, 6, and 7. So we do English first, and then do 1, 2, 3, and 4, the Greek ones, as many as you can do. I won't give you much time, so you probably won't get finished. But join your groups and underline the subject, the object with 2 lines, and circle the verb, okay? Let me share.
Okay, the slave brother.
Wait a minute.
First.
I
Okay.
want to go there first. Okay. All right. All right. Which one? I can't underline. Actually, I can, but I want to do it in the group in just a moment. So I'm not going to do it right now on my sheet. Oh, I can. Wait a minute. Yes, of course I can. I'll just use print this out again. Wait, give me just a moment. Okay. Instead of now showing you this screen, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to show you a different screen. Hold on. Share screen. No. Okay. Now, Imran and Sherban, we're working together in a group. Imran, the subject in sentence 5.
Sentence 5. The slave has a brother. Okay, the subject is slave.
Bilkul. Mr. Shervan, what is the object?
The object is brother.
Yes, the slave has something. So, and the verb will be what? Mr. Shervan, what would be the verb now?
I thought, if I'm not wrong, the verb is has a.
Yeah, well, goes with brother. It's just an English indefinite article, but this is, yes, this is the
Has,
verb.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we can translate is having. We don't usually say that, but that is generally the force of the Greek present tense. Let's take the next one. Just a moment. I'm going to broadcast something, so I need just a moment. Broadcast message. Have to do several things at once. One more minute. I'm sending this out to the groups broadcast. Okay. Let's take the next one. The people are eating bread. Let's do it this way. Last time, Shervan, this time, the subject is?
Yeah. The people.
The object, Mr. Imran?
Bread.
Bread. Okay, no problem. And the verb?
Is eating.
Yes, both of these words actually, because we're using the progressive translation for the Greek present tense. The people are eating bread. Let's just do one more. Let's do a Greek sentence. Let's do number 4. Okay. Now this time I'm going to ask Mr. Imran, what is the subject in this sentence?
Theons.
Think carefully.
Yeah.
Mr. Shervan, you have an idea?
Theos. Oh.
Actually, the subject is ha laos.
Laos. Okay.
Because this is the nominative case ending. Laos. Laos means people. And we'll find out that this is the article, the people.
Okay.
This is the verb, eche. We've had this one before. The people are having, or the people have, the object.
Object is?
They're having gods. The people are
Yeah.
having plural, us,
Is-
accusative
Us.
plural. This is the object. The
Hmm.
people have gods.
Hmm.
Notice that gods is first. This is strange for us because in English we must say the people have gods. Gods must come last, but not in Greek, because the ending tells us what the object is. Now everyone is coming back. So I'm going to go back out of our groups now. Let's see. I'm going to take up new copies just a moment. I know you're not seeing me right now. All right. I'm going to take a Greek sentence this time to make things a little more interesting. So, if I get Mr. and Ms. mixed up, please don't hold it against me because I don't always know yet who is male and which is female. Okay. Oh, I forgot to say this, by the way. I'll stop recording now. I forgot to tell you that I would like to have a brief 10-minute session with each one of you to get to know you. And I'm going to ask Ms. Zanaria to schedule this with you. There are certain evenings that I can do this, and I know your schedule is also not always free. So she will connect with you, and she knows when I am free. And we will plan for me to meet with each one of you just for 10, 15 minutes so I can ask you about yourself and find out about you, because otherwise I don't know who you are. I just have faces and names on the class, and as soon as the class is over, everyone, as it were, goes home or ends the Zoom session. But I need to know who you are. I need to know so I can pray for you and so I can teach you better, understand your circumstances, if you have family, and so on. Just basic questions I want to know. So I'm going to take sentence number 2. All right. Let's read it together. Keep your microphones muted, but let's read it together. Hoi. Adolphoi. Kai. Hoi. Duloi. Esti usin arton. Whoops. I just remembered. I forgot to do something. Let me share the screen again. A different one. Let's go back here. No, that's not the screen I want. Let me share the screen again. Here we are. I forgot to add the article. So let's do that. The article is actually brought to us by the Greek language. Before Greek, we didn't have an article in any language. But the Greeks invented the article, and some say that it's the greatest thing that the Greeks gave to us. Personally, I thought it was philosophy, but actually the New Testament, the Greek language gave to us. But linguists like to say the article. Anyway, the article changes with the endings of the word. So for example, if I have a masculine word, logos, then it will be ha, logos, and the accusative or the direct object, ton. And the plural hoi, and the accusative, the object. Remember, accusative means object. So it becomes this: ho logos, ton logon, hoi logoi, tus logus. Now remember, don't worry about accent marks, okay? If you want to write them, fine. But you need to make sure you get them right. And that's where other rules come in. And the rules are very complicated. We don't need to add that information. So right now, ha logos, ton logon. Now, what is the meaning of these words? Sorry, I thought this was there. It's not there. Ha logos, the word. Ton logon means the word. It means the same thing as ha logos. Why does it change from ha logos to ton logon? On is actually the ending for the accusative. It means that this is the direct object in the sentence. It tells us that information. And the plurals are hoi logoi, the words, and tus logus, again, the words, except this is the direct object. We call it accusative case. Remember, the article in the nominative and in the accusative. In case you're confused about where we are, let me share again the textbook. Share screen. Where are we? The textbook. There it is. Let's go forward in section 3.1.6 in the textbook. (3.1.6) in the textbook. This means chapter 3, part 1 of section of chapter 3, section 6, the article. English has two kinds of article: the definite article, the, and the indefinite article, or an. Greek has only one article. For this, we can be thankful. At this stage of learning Greek, it is best to consider the Greek article as the equivalent of the definite article in English, though it will get more complicated. So he gives some usages on the next page of your textbook. I hope that you have read your textbook, but your assignment next time will be to read carefully the textbook, the first section. Lege logon anthropos, a man, notice anthropos, a man says or is saying lege, a word, logon. Now notice ho anthropos, the man says lege, a word. A man, anthropos, says ton logon, the word. Why suddenly the word? Because we have the article here, ton logon. No article with anthropos, so in English, we just say a man. But there's an article here in Greek with logon, the subject. It is now the object because of it, the ending is on. So a man says the word. It doesn't matter, remember, it doesn't matter what order these words are in. Hoi anthropoi, the men are saying, or say, the men are saying the words, tus logus. The men, hoi anthropoi, are saying, or simple present, say, the words. Let's go back and stop sharing. Let's go back to our screen before we had before. Now I'm going to instead use this. Oh, I'm already there. Okay. I keep forgetting to switch back. All right, here we are. Now, in Greek, the best thing to do when you're translating Greek is to look for the verb first. So I'm going to circle the verb, Mr. Arif. In this sentence, number 2, which one is the verb, do you think? If you don't know, just guess.
This is very small writing. I can't see right properly. Yeah. What is question?
The verb. What is the verb in this sentence?
Verb.
The verb.
Verb is the.
In other words, which word is the action? Is telling us the action.
Action.
Let me ask Rafakat. Rafakat, please unmute and tell us which one is the verb in this sentence? No. Anyone else? Unmute your microphone if you know what the verb is.
Estiosin.
Estiosin.
Shabash. Shabash.
Yes.
We know, if we know our words from the last chapter, okay? Let's go back here just a moment and look at the last chapter in our book. Where is it here? Let's go back and the end of chapter 2, vocabulary, right? Kuo, I hear, I listen, or I am hearing. Grapho, I write, or I am writing. Estio, I eat, or I am eating, and so on. But we have these vocabulary words and we must know them. Okay, so your job will also be to memorize these. Now, esti usin. This is the third person plural ending. If it were esti ete, I would already know the subject. It would be you. You plural are eating. But it is not you plural, it is they. But if I have any nouns that are plural, then they will be the subject in this instead of they. Do I have a subject like that that agrees with this verb? Let's see, I'm not seeing all names. Reverend Phineas.
Adelphoi and Dulai. Dulai.
Shabash, yes. Notice
both are the subject.
These are plural and they are also nominative case. And we have kai, which means and, so we have two. And we also have the article. So we would translate this, the brothers, and the slaves. I'm going to insist you use slave for doulos because doulos does not mean servant. It means bond slave. You will find in the textbook he has servant, but servant is almost never a good translation for doulos. Doulos is a bond slave. For right now, just say the brothers and the slaves. We have to put the article with both of them. Hoi, hoi. The brothers and the slaves are eating. Now, if they're eating, we generally will have a direct object because they're going to eat something. What are they eating? Anyone?
So should I tell you?
Yes, please.
Oraton.
Artan, which
Oraton.
means
Bread.
bread. Shabash. Yes. Because it is in the accusative case, we say. It shows it is the object. There is no article, so we just say bread. We don't say a bread. We could translate a loaf of bread, actually, for arton, but for our purposes right now, we will simply, let me go back to my normal camera. We will simply say bread. The slaves, the brothers and the slaves are eating, or the brothers and the slaves eat, simple present, eat bread. Now, we have a few moments left, but you probably need to stand up. So stand up just a moment. And in case I forget, this recording of this class will be available on a link in Moodle on YouTube. And so if you need to review the class or any part of the class, you can do that. I'm also making this class available to the A group, A section, because there was some discussion at the end that was personal that got recorded, and I don't want that to go on to YouTube. All right, you're seeing the textbook in front of you. And again, we have a list of vocabulary. And again, I stress, we have to learn a lot of things. Can I remind you that when the Apostle Paul, for example, preached in the book of Acts, he preached a lot of facts. It says when he preached, he showed them from the scriptures that the Christ must suffer and must die and must rise again from the dead. And he took scriptures, he showed them, he took the scroll of Isaiah and he took different passages. He took the scroll of Genesis. He took the scroll of Exodus and told them the story of the Passover and how it points to Christ. He took the story after story. He took the story of David and he talked about David and how David was promised to be one of his descendants, the great Savior, and that Jesus is at the line of David. He gave them facts after fact after fact after fact. So don't be despairing if we have to learn lots of facts, even in studying Greek, because it will bear fruit if we keep going. All right, here's plenty of facts on this page in our textbook. Again, you have two vocabularies, actually three. You have vocabulary 1 and 2 and 3. And vocabulary 3.1, you'll need to know for next time. Adolphos, brother. Ha, Adolphos, the brother. Anthropos, human being or man. Or we can also say person. It sounds a little better than human being, person. Ha, anthropos, the man or the person. Artos, bread. The bread, or actually a loaf of bread, would also be correct, because if you have artoi, for example, we don't say breads, we say loaves of bread. And we know what kind of bread they had, so loaves of bread is correct. Doulos, do not translate doulos with servant, always slave. Ha, doulos, the slave. Laos, Now, even though we're not learning accent rules, we can pronounce correctly Laos, accent here. Ha, Laos, the people. Hoi, Laoi, the peoples. The peoples, because people can be more than one, the peoples. Ha, Logos, the word. Hoi, Logoi, words, the words. It can also have other meanings. Huios, sun. Ha, huios, the sun. And then we have some other words we need to learn. Kai, and then the articles that we've just talked about. So let's go back to our sentences again and finish our class. I think we're here. Okay. Now we take this sentence, lege. Lege ton logon anthropos. We have a Greek sentence. We look for the verb first. We know lego.
Lego.
We
is the
say,
verb.
this must be the verb.
Yes.
And he, she, it is third person singular. So we're going to, if it were legete, we wouldn't have to look any further. We would say you are speaking. But this is not you or I or we. This is he, she, or it. So there may be a word in the nominative case that agrees that is the subject instead of he, she, or it. Indeed. Anthropos. A man is speaking.
Anthropos.
The word. This is in the accusative case, ton logon. And therefore, it is the object. A man is speaking the word. Not is speaking the word a man. I can't use the English word order. Remember, Greek in word order is actually important in order to stress, but we'll talk about that later. What is important is put forward in the sentence. And therefore, this is very, very helpful in reading the New Testament, because if something is moved forward, especially out of the normal word order, then the author is stressing that word and wants us to pay attention to that word or those words. Sometimes it's more than one. Okay, now this sentence, lege ton logon ho anthropos, is a little different from this sentence. How does this translate, Mr.?
The man. Who?
The man.
The man.
The man is speaking the word. Notice the man is speaking the word. Again, this is different. A man is speaking. Notice how the ending of the verb, third person singular, agrees here with the subject. Nominative case. A man is speaking the words. Little different. The men, hoi anthropoi. Notice that legosi is third person plural, so it can agree with the men. The men are speaking a word, a word. There's no article here with logon. Now we have a different one. Hoi anthropoi tous logos legosi. So we look at this sentence and we say, okay, someone, or actually more than one, are speaking. Or
Speak.
we can simply say speak. We can
The
use the
man.
simple present. That's all right too. I'm just trying, by using the continuous action present, the progressive present, I am forcing you to get used to the idea that is present usually in the Greek verb. And the present tense in Greek emphasizes the usually, not always. This is why we will talk about it later. Usually the progressive action,
The men are speaking.
the words.
The word.
Now, if we have a Greek sentence, it's important that we look for the verb first, and we find it here. Heurisk usi.
Yeah.
We
this
see
is
third person plural. So we're either going to have they find, or they are finding, or we're going to have a word in the plural, nominative plural, that agrees that is the subject. And we do here, anthropoi, men or persons, humans, if you want. If you want to remain gender neutral, that's okay. Men are finding, and the object, the slaves. It doesn't matter now if I change this to heuriskusi anthropoi tous doulos, it means the same thing. Men are finding the slaves. Or tous doulos heuriskusi anthropoi, doesn't change it. The men are finding the slaves. How do I know? Because this agrees with this. This must be the subject. This is the object because it is in what we call the accusative case. This sentence, who is finding whom in this sentence? Anyone?
Men are finding the slave.
Yes, almost correct, except there's no article here, so we'd say a man. A man finds or is finding a slave. Because we don't have the article here or here. So in English, we have I keep forgetting the term. We have the other article. A man is finding a slave.
Christos. Yeah. This is the verb.
Akue. This means
This is verb.
is hearing. He, she, it is hearing. I look for someone in the nominative case. The Christ. Or because this becomes a name in the New Testament, at first it is a title, the Christ, the anointed one, the Mashiach, the Messiah. But he becomes a name because Jesus is obviously the Christ, and Paul refers to Christ Jesus, becomes a name. Now, you need to know with names, in Greek, they usually have the article, but in English, we don't translate the article. We don't say the Christ unless we are talking about the title rather than the name. So it may be the Christ is hearing because we are referring to him as the Messiah, or it may be that we're using Christ as a name, in which case it would usually have Christ Jesus. Christ is hearing the word. Or the Christ is hearing the word would also be fine because it's not clear. We don't have any context for this sentence. So we don't know if it is a title, the Christ, or if it is a name. If it were Ha Petros, Peter is hearing the word, then it would be still Ha Petros, but we would not translate the article in English. We would not say the Peter. we would say in English, Peter is hearing the word. All right. I hope I've given you sufficient help to do your homework. Your homework is going to be on Moodle, just to be safe, because some people have had problems logging into Moodle, and to make sure you please see Ms. Zenaria if you have any problems logging into Moodle. And if she can't correct them, she will bring them to me. I will once again put Ms. Zenaria's, actually you can post it, a question on the WhatsApp group, but you can also email Ms. Zenaria if you need to about any problems with Moodle. I will post the homework on Moodle, and I will also post it on WhatsApp. In the future, I shouldn't need to do that because Moodle should have everything. It will have the recording of this class, the video recording, and it will have the homework for this class, and it will have any additional materials you need. For example, the photocopies of chapter 3 will again be there for this class. If you have not gotten your textbook yet, Ms. Zenaria, can I ask you, do we still have textbooks available, or are you using copies now?
We will be using the copies because
we've run out of books.
We ran out of this stock, so we will be using the copies.
Okay, but you will still have the whole book. Do you have the copies available yet or not yet?
Not yet. I will have them like in the coming week.
Okay, so you need to make,
yes.
if you don't have a copy of the book, some of you may live some distance from FC College, so I don't know how to help you. You need to somehow, maybe someone's going to Lahore and can drop by and you must make an appointment with Ms. Zenaria, because she's only in the office at FC College on certain days. And she also has to get the book copied now. So make an appointment with her and pick up your copy so that hopefully when we get to chapter 4, which won't be until in 2 weeks' time, everyone will have a textbook. And when I come back in the beginning of January, I will bring more books with me, and then you will have a proper copy. But right now, we will have to make do with a photocopy of the whole book. She will have a contract for you to sign. So, but on Moodle, you will have the homework, and the homework will be learning vocabulary words, reading carefully chapter 3.1, the first half of chapter 3, and doing all the exercises at the end of section 3.1, which will be E 3.1. When I say E 3.1, I mean the exercises at the end of section 3.1. And of course, you have to learn the vocabulary. And one other thing, continue memorizing John 1 and 2. In arche ein hologos, kai hologos ein proston theon, kai theos ein hologos, hutos ein in arche proston theon. It should come very quickly to you with time. Of course, it takes time to memorize. Write it down on cards one way I do it. Other students like to use their phones. I will send you the name of an app that you can use for vocabulary words if you want to use that app. But learn your vocabulary words, memorize the verses, and do the exercises. I know this is a lot of work, but remember this. This is a 3-hour class, and we are closing the class only shortly after 2 hours. So 1 hour is already missing. So you have 1 hour extra time. And the other thing is there is homework. Learning a language takes work. So I'm closing the class now. This is the end. If you have a specific question you need to ask, I think Miss Scenario can stay a few moments if she would, and you can ask the question. Otherwise, you're free to go. And I will be trying to make a connection with you for a personal talk before we have class next Thursday. But for right now, God bless you all, and see you next Thursday, Lord willing. Take care, be careful, stay healthy.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're free to go unless you have a question you need to answer. You need an answer.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you.
If someone has any question about Moodle or any other issue, so you can talk to me.
Ms. Aneri, if you need to speak in Punjabi or Urdu, feel free to do so.
All right.
All right, Mr. Herbert, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Mr. Arif. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm very
All right, same here. Same here.
encouraged by so many students.
Yeah, it's me, Harun Arif, not Mr. Arif.
Harun, Harun is your first name.
Yes, that's my first name.
I think I need to get, Zaneri, I think I need to get this list in the right order.
All right, sir. God bless you.
Yeah, and
Thank you so much for your time.
And you, Harun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mr. Arun.
Thank you very much. I'm Mrs.
Yes,
Tamina
sir.
Benjamin.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Herbert,
That's okay.
you're supposed to guess. I think you were going to say something.
No, that's fine. I wanted to ask, is it Anam or Abishai?
This is this is Tamina Benjamin, sir.
Oh,
Abishai is my son.
Oh, okay. It says.
Mostly I use his connection and his name for that.
Okay. Do you have a
don't
moment?
have my own.
Do you have a moment that then I can just ask you a couple of questions, because I just want to get to know each of the students. So
Yes, sir.
let me stop recording.